Greetings one and all, this is Derek with Denver Yoga Underground. Today I'll share some important points of refinement on a fairly well known breathing technique called Nadi Shodhan, or Nadi Shodhana, which literally means nerve purification, though it is more commonly called alternate nostril breathing. This technique is valuable for calming anxiety or generally creating more balance. So these are qualitative descriptions, and it takes a little doing and reflecting to kind of feel into what those words mean. And in my experience, the value is very much there. So alternate nostril breathing, Nadi Shodhana, is very much like the common translation sounds. So we direct the flow of breath from one hemisphere of the nasal passage to the other and then back again. It's much like an arch-like progression or pattern that moves from side to side. To do that, we use a gesture called Vishnu Mudra. There's other variations of this in which the thumb regulates the one nasal passage and the ring finger the other and directs the flow of breath from side to side. Not only can you seal off a nasal passage, but you can use these fingers, again, point of refinement, use these fingers to open up the nasal passage. Invariably, what starts to happen is the shoulder will fatigue at some point, and people often peter out with this practice. So at home, I've devised this danda or staff that I use to prop up the elbow. Now, if you don't have a staff like this, you can use yoga blocks as well. So you arrange the block. I'm in a cross-legged seat here. So you can arrange the blocks in a geometry that's going to work for you. This arrangement right here tends to work well for most people. You rest it on the knee, rest your elbow there, see that it's secure, and use the, again, Vishnu Mudra, or this variation here, I think it's called Nasagar Mudra, to, again, direct the flow. So long, smooth, slow, even inhalation and exhalation. I mentioned this many times in the class setting, and somehow it doesn't totally register for folks. They're eagerly burning the candle of breath on both ends, trying to get through it quickly for whatever reason. Now, the deeper science and purpose and utility of pranayama is it's a way of going a bit against the grain, good word, ingrained assumptions that we have in our breathing, and there's a corresponding psychological effect that happens as well when we manipulate the flow of the breath differently. In this case, long, smooth, and subtle breaths with concentration at the eyebrow center. So the zenith of the breath, the upmost point. Another way we could frame this is say the breath is silent. The breath is silent. I keep a box of tissue right next to my place of pranayama and meditation and use it generously. What's more, you can refine your breathing by exploring or leaning into a 1-to-1 ratio of breath. So, as a simple example, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, or in 6 and out 6. This could also be done in conjunction with a more literal mantra. So you could use Om, for example, instead of saying 1, 2, 3, 4, or Gayatri is another mantra that can be parsed out relative to segments of the breath. And in my experience, this develops more of a meditative focus. So, Nadi Shodhana can be done after asana or in preparation for meditation is probably more its classic utility for the purposes of creating balance and calm. Thank you one and all for your ongoing dedication to the practice and process of yoga and developing, maturing as a human being. And thank you to my liking, subscribing, commenting friends. Leave a comment. I'm happy to answer, or it might become the product of or inspire the next video. So wishing you peace on the path, one and all. Om.